insulting, including the UK and our Prime Minister, asking his allies to go and help him keep the Straits open. If he's that much of a three-dimensional chess player, why is he being forced to ask his allies for help?
Actually plays chess on a 5D.
In this video, you're about to watch a fascinating moment where a political argument slowly collapses under its own logic. What begins as a confident defense of Donald Trump's strategy quickly turns into something else entirely. Instead of clear answers, the conversation drifts into claims of secret strategies, invisible plans, and something supporters like to call 5D chess. But when those claims are tested with simple questions and real-world consequences, the argument starts to unravel in real time. Watch carefully how the discussion unfolds.
What impact do you think this will have on the president's base and standing within his own party?
I think it will have an impact. As we've seen, the vast majority of his base does support this, but I am one of the minority that does not support it. And on the whole, the American people don't support it. We see here in Europe, there is not support for this war. And people are not happy that he lifted sanctions on Russian oil. And that was the leverage, the economic leverage we had in trying to bring peace to Russia-Ukraine conflict. The peace that he was trying to achieve between Israel and Gaza, between Russia and Ukraine, that's now secondary. And now we've created a whole new conflict, drawn in the rest of the world into this conflict, when that was not his promise when he was running for president.
Do you feel, I mean, we've spoken in the studio before, you've defended the president, I know that you're a supporter of his. Do you feel personally let down by this?
Absolutely. Absolutely. As I said, he abandoned his promise when he ran for president, no new wars. We know that the Iraq war added over $13 trillion to our debt problem in the U.S. There is no appetite financially either for it.
Dr. Harper-Hayes, you've heard it not from me there, but from someone who has supported the president, feels personally let down. There will be many, she will speak, Nora Lee Knotson, she'll speak for many people and many American voters who voted for the president, partly because they thought that he would not let the country be dragged in to new conflicts. And yet here we are.
Now notice what happens next. Instead of addressing the criticism directly, the defense shifts towards something else entirely.
Well, if we look at what's going on and we think of it as a chessboard, I think it was rather smart of our Treasury Secretary because they anticipated that there would be a close to the Strait of the Hormuz. And they anticipated that Lloyd's of London would play that game. So they lifted the Russian sanctions so that there would not be a continual shortage of oil. If we look at this from the optics and from the strategy, and if you only say, and you have just an emotional reaction, I feel let down, he promised no new wars. This is not a new war. Why are the neocons writing op-eds saying that this was and is a 47-year war that has been going on, and he is ending that threat to America? So it depends on how you want to look at that. And yes, there are many people that have supported him that are having emotional fallouts about this. But why do people jump to conclusions so quickly instead of looking at what the strategy is, how long it's been going on, and listen to the other words of our Treasury Secretary, what his moves have been? And again, I am going to repeat, it is no new wars. This is not a new war. This is an operation, and there is not an intention. The minute people jump, this is just like Iraq, and it's going to cost us this. You're making all sorts of assumptions based on history instead of looking at what is going on in the world today. And that is how we need to analyze this.
Has that convinced you, Nora?
With all due respect, General Kane advised President Trump about the risk of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. And apparently, our president believed that Iran would capitulate before that would happen. And
No,
it was
he
a gross
didn't.
miscalculation. It was overconfidence based on the success last summer, based on the success in Venezuela, that this would be short-lived. And unfortunately, it's created a big mess, not only for the U.S., not only for our friends in the Middle East, but for the rest of the world.
100 ships go through the strait. They have put our Navy there and a 20 million reinsurance plan. All they have to do is get through the strait, and the ships go back to their regular insurance company.
Have you
the
not
fact
heard?
Is they anticipated this. They anticipated that Iran would do that, and they outsmarted them.
And this is where the argument begins to collide with reality.
If you've read the news today, the heads of the Navy say that if we try to escort the ships through, you will only be a kill box for the Iranians. And I do not want to see our sons and daughters die unnecessarily trying to escort oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. We did not sign up for this. We did not vote for this. Bottom line.
I don't always believe what the press writes. I prefer to listen to our cabinet secretaries and our president, what they're saying, and looking at the strategy that is put in, because we know how journalists will skew things exactly that way.
Dr. Alphayes, are you really seriously saying that President Trump foresaw every step that Iran has made, that he foresaw exactly how this was going to go? And the current situation that we're experiencing, this is exactly where President Trump expected us to get to and where he wanted to be?
I would not use the words exactly, but what I would say is that he and his cabinet secretaries anticipated certain actions and built things in to be able to counter it. If you think that Trump does things off the cuff, then you have not paid attention to him and have had blinders on with judgment of Trump.
So why, in that case, why is he being forced, in what some commentators are saying in a rather humiliating fashion, to ask for allies who he has spent the last couple of weeks
And that leads directly to the moment you saw at the beginning.
insulting, including the UK and our Prime Minister, asking his allies to go and help him keep the straits open? If he's that much of a three-dimensional chess player, why is he being forced to ask his allies for help?
Actually plays chess on a 5D.
Right, sorry.
Well, why did Iran strike other Middle Eastern countries? I mean, you know.
Well, so
you
he
can
didn't
look
see
at
that coming.
Oh, he definitely did anticipate it. Just because the press isn't reporting that, it doesn't, you have to look at the moves that they are making, which tell you that they anticipated certain things. That's what needs to be looked at. You need to look at the actions and the decisions and come to your own conclusions.
So again, I just go back to that. I just go to that point, Dr. Alphayes. If he was such as you say, not just three-dimensional, but five-dimensional chess player, who knows, 7 or 9 or 11 dimensions, who knows, given his genius. If he was so skilled, why is he in a position where he is having to ask his allies for help to keep the straits open?
Well, why is your emphasis as if it's a negative that he's having to ask? This is what he is showing by bringing people together against the terror that Iran has brought, not only on its own people, but on some of the other surrounding countries.
There's another way of looking at it, Dr. Alpayes. There's another way of looking at it, which is neither he nor America is as powerful as he thinks they are.
That's not where he's coming from. Where he's coming from is to reorder our whole economic renaissance. And if you can't look at those aspects of it.
Oil over $100 a barrel again? Is that an economic renaissance? Really?
Just because they're doing Chicken Little and the sky is falling and the FT is saying that and Bloomberg, you bought into that.
No, it's the Americans who are having right now to pay more money to fill up their cars because of what President Trump does. And you might say it's Chicken Little, Jan Harper-Hayes, but you know what? You're not insulting me. Arguably, you're insulting American voters who voted for Trump in dismissing their economic concerns.
You know what? It went up 20 cents. It went up 60 cents.
Maybe that's easy for you to say.
It definitely wasn't as $5 when Biden was in. And the thing
Donald
is
Trump
that if you
increasing your prices a bit less than Biden. Don't remember him running on that.
What you just watched is a perfect example of how political narratives evolve when they run into uncomfortable facts. At the beginning of this discussion, the issue seemed straightforward. Donald Trump had campaigned heavily on a promise that resonated with millions of voters: no new wars. For many Americans, especially after decades of costly military interventions, that promise represented a shift toward focusing on domestic prosperity rather than global conflict. But when events appear to contradict that promise, the explanation changes. Instead of acknowledging a miscalculation, the argument becomes that everything is actually part of a much larger, hidden strategy. The conflict isn't a mistake, it's chess. Rising oil prices aren't a consequence they're anticipated. Asking allies for help isn't a sign of difficulty, it's supposedly a masterstroke of diplomacy. This is where the conversation becomes revealing, because the more complicated the explanation becomes, the simpler the original question still remains. If the strategy was perfectly planned, why do the outcomes look so chaotic? That's the tension at the center of this debate. On one side, you have measurable realities, energy prices, military risk, geopolitical escalation. On the other side, you have a narrative insisting that every development, even the negative ones, proves the brilliance of the plan. And that's why the 5D chess argument keeps appearing in political discussions. It provides a convenient answer whenever events don't match expectations. If things go well, it's proof of genius. If things go badly, it's still proof of genius, because the genius is supposedly invisible. But debates like this expose the weakness of that logic. Because once someone calmly asks the obvious question, why does a master strategist suddenly need help from the same allies he was criticizing weeks earlier, the entire explanation starts to wobble. And suddenly, what sounded like a brilliant master plan begins to look a lot more like a narrative, struggling to keep up with reality. What do you think about this exchange? Do you think this was genuinely strategic thinking, or just another example of the 5D chess explanation appearing whenever things go wrong? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy these deep breakdowns of political debates and media interviews, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss the next analysis.